Yo, son, we had to come in the garage so we could get busy. Let's run it.
And the ancestors are looking out for us. God Hayes is exposing them, man.
Okay, you see that chair right there? See how big it is?
Yeah.
Now look at the Pope chair under it. Scroll down, look at the Pope chair under it.
Never have it been made so clear.
Young TV. Young
We running the game right now.
Young TV.
Time to take over.
Young
We the hottest in the game. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. If you just not tuned in.
TV.
Share, like on your Instagram, Facebook.
Young TV.
If you tuned in, we broadcasting live from 2030, baby.
Young TV. Young
Taking over the game, baby. Oh yeah.
Young TV.
Hit that like.
Young TV.
Get them likes up in the air, you heard me?
Young TV.
Ride by. Hotel Islam.
Young TV.
Assalamu alaikum. Flown lekker. Peace.
Young
Be unto you.
TV.
Hit that like.
Hey, y'all, we back. Now, we posted all the receipts to the footnotes to all these classes that we was gonna do. This we talking to you about Julius Piso, Flavius, right? Flavor Flav, right? The albino who went to ancient Kemet and asked around, looked around, and then wrote down the story and then made a play out of it. But it's not to be mistaken with the real Yashua, who was a being similar to, like we said, during the time, like say if he was Martin Luther King was back during that time, or Noble Drew Ali was back during the time of Yashua in the early ADs, BCs during the switchover. During that time, we're talking about Yashua, not the story that they created from the story of Haru, because the Immaculate Conception and all this stuff. They take that Flavor Flav, Julius Piso got that from ancient Kemet. And this is before the Nicene Council. Julius Piso plays a part in why the Nicene Council came about, because he created this ideology, and then once the Nicene Council came, they debated the type of ideology that he portrayed into Mark, Matthews, and Luke. Now he didn't write the book of John. The Pisos didn't write the book of John. Really, John was the only one that was told to go write anything down according to the Injil. So that's why Doc always told us, don't worry about math. He used to say, he eventually told us about Piso, about Flavius Piso, but he used to always say when we was in the school of Christianity, he used to tell us, don't worry about Matthew, Mark, and Luke. He used to say, just read John in the book of Revelations in the New Testament. Just read the book of John and the book of Revelations. All the rest of it is it's allegorical stories. But even the book of John, Yohannan, has been suited after the Nicene Council to fit, because the book of Revelations is 96, But I think the book of John is a little bit before that. But the book of John and the book of Revelations go together. And what they did is after the Nicene Council, they rearranged the book of John to suit the rest of the diagram. But if you read the book of John is the only book that read like it read. Like in the beginning was the word out of all the other three gospels. And then too, if you read the book of Matthew, I think it's chapter 9, it says, and Matthew went to meet up with such and such. If Matthews wrote the book of Matthews, why would it say and I, Matthews? See, the book of Matthews is written in third and fourth person. The book of Matthews, go read it. Go read chapter 9. Who wrote chapter 9 in the book of Matthews? Right? But we know that the book of Yohannan is the only book that be trusted out of the New Testament. And Doc, I heard he had pointed that out. And so, like I said, and you can watch for you people that don't like how Young Elder talk and say, for you people that want the receipts to all this, we got the receipts and the links in the descriptions, and all you gotta do is go click on the two tapes, part 1 and part 2. We just put out about did Flavius Piso or Josephus write the New Testament, right? And we got pictures of him going in ancient Kemet, looking at the walls, trying to decipher the text. And then he asking some of the natives who is us, saying, "Hey, interesting." He asking some of the natives, "That's interesting." Sound like somebody moving outside. Hold on. That's crazy. Yeah, but I'm about to go check out there with my burner. Sound like somebody was moving outside, y'all. But what was I saying? Yeah, so Julius Piso went to ancient Kemet and was stealing. I got the stick. I got the stick. I'm gonna go out there. They better be lucky I didn't want to go out there and interrupt the show and go look around with it. But Julius Piso, Flavius Josephus, his whole thing was to steal the Earthborn. It was a paper genocide move to create the New Testament. It was to write themselves into history, to write for these Canaanites to write themselves into history, for the Yakub Jacobites to write themselves into the Earthborn history. And that's what this whole game was about, to make it like, okay, this is a Earth historical book. And technically it is. It's just that the New Testament is plagiarized from ancient. You're dealing with two different diaphragm frames. In the Old Testament, you're dealing with the Anunnakis, and you're dealing with astronomy, and you're dealing with historical bloodlines that really existed, right? Like the Mizraim, who we can find today, right now, which is one on this side of the mirror, which is us, right? The Washita. And then on that side of the mirror, it's the Afar people and the Ethiopians and the some of the Sudanese tribes who mixed in with the tribe of Mizraim. The tribe of Cush. These tribes can be found today, right? The tribe of Cush. A lot of the tribes that's mentioned of in the Bible could be found and a reference today. So for people that want to get rid of the whole Bible, you gotta. Some people can say, "Oh," because I heard Polite make a. He says if a piece of if it's lettuce is good to eat, he said yes, and then he said, "Would you eat it out the trash can?" And the dude said, "No, I wouldn't eat it out the trash can." And he said, "That's the same as the Bible. The Bible it's a good book, but somebody put it in the trash, and so you got to get it out the trash." And I like the analogy that he made, but it's like this: A lot of the stuff, it's like the devil took 85% of the truth and 15% of the lie and mixed it in together. But even in the New Testament with the story of Jesus, that story still is a true story. The story of the Immaculate Conception, it's just the way people conceiving it, or the way they imagine it. The storyline, that storyline of the New Testament of the Jesus birth and all that is a real storyline that existed for thousands of years in ancient Kemet, of the story of Haru and Inanna and Osiris, the father who becomes the Pope. Matter of fact, if you look at going to ancient Kemet and you this is what Piso did. Piso knew about all this, right? That I'm telling you. All right, so if you go in ancient Kemet, you'll see on the wall they got Osiris sitting up in the chair and on the throne, right, like the Pope. And then they got Inanna standing behind him, and then they got Haru, the son of God, taking a soul after it's being judged. That's where they get all this whole concept from, of the judgment, the son. The only way to the Father is through the Son. They got that from Piso, got that from ancient Kemet, because he went in there, he sat in there and studied and looked at the wall, and he said, "Oh, this Haru, he's the son of Osiris. Osiris is God. Okay, God of the underworld. He becomes God of the underworld, right? So if Osiris is God, then Haru is the son of God. The son of God takes people to be judged to the Father." And so he interpreted all of this stuff into what you got into the Bible. So even the whole storyline really is a true storyline, really. But it's going back to ancient Kemet storyline of Haru. And it wasn't no Holy Ghost that impregnated the woman. They really they did artificial assimilation. Right? Artificial assimilation. Okay. Says, what up with Lucifer's new Bible he wrote? What up with Lucifer's new Bible he wrote? I don't know too much about that part. It says, yeah, Jibrail. Okay, so that's dealing with the reincarnate, like, so cause we reincarnate. So you're dealing with reincarnations of Haru, starting with Tammuz. So you got Tammuz, Haru, Silver, become Krishna. You got all these different incarnations. King Tut is one of the incarnations. Yashua is one of the incarnations. A lot of y'all have been in the past. Some of y'all might be some of the biblical characters that's mentioned in the Old Testament, and you just don't remember, right? You just don't remember. But it's like this: the New Testament is Najaru teachings. The New Testament is Najaru teachings. It's the teachings about the Son of God, Haru, that existed before Christianity. Christianity, because people was arguing with me when I told them Christianity come out of ancient Kemet. Christianity is the follow of the Son of God, the worship of Son of God. The Son of God worship goes back to ancient Kemet with the Haru, like we just said. Now, what happens is the Ethiopians had it first, because people was arguing me about this. They said the Dogon's not in Ethiopia. The Dogon's in West Africa. But you got to keep in mind the Dogons migrated to West Africa. The Dogons was in Ethiopia, according to what Doc said in the Let's Set the Record Straight book. He said that the Dogon tribe was one of the original Ethiopian tribes. He said that the word Egyptian, the word Egyptian can be used loosely because there was several different tribes, like the Watusis, got the Sandsman, the Twa, all these different people that was in that area. So the word Egyptian, and it's really don't even apply to the people, because the Egyptian means burnt face. It applies to Greeks who came into the land, right? But that's another story. That's another story, right? But he said that these Dogon people were in the land of Ethiopia at first, and then they got pushed out during the British wars when the Mahdi and all that was going on with the war with the British. and they got pushed out to the West Africa. But they the ones that got taught the sun worship from the Nomos beings, those who claim to know the most, who are a group of extraterrestrials from the Osiris star system. Go look up a man named Crito Mutwa. You know, Mu, one who's of the Twa. They say he's Zulu priest, or he's Zulu priest, but he really are the Twa man, because that's what Mutwa means, of the Twa, right? But go look up Quito Mutwa, and he gives you the storyline of how the Nomos came down and started telling them all the storylines. Yeah, Mutwa tell the storylines where these Nomos come down and start telling the people about the sun and how it moves, and then this and that. And then also to add into that, the 12 chart, the Dorian calendar, and the sun in the middle is where Piso took the Son of God traveling around with 12 disciples and all that, right? That's where Piso took that from. And Piso was the one that could he spoke like 3 or 4 different languages. So he was one of them smart albino guys. Actually, Flavius means blonde hair. And go look in the Bible in Leviticus chapter 13, verse 30, and you'll see that the Canaanites were the ones that had yellow thin hair, right? Flavius Julius was a Canaanite from the Canaanite tribe, from the Hittites. The Hittites, because some of the Romans, some of these, he was a Hittite, a Canaanite. That's what Flavius means. Go look it up. It means blonde haired people. That goes back to, listen now, a group of beings called, that Doc pointed out, that was Yakub's drafted beings, called the Flugelrods. The Flugelrods. Right? The Flugelrods were Yakub's drafted beings out of the Hindus. Those people also mixed back in with another group of beings called the Canaanites, who are the sons of Ham. Ham had a son that was born with leprosy, according to the Bible. Genesis chapter 9, verse 25, cursed be Canaan, a servant shall he be unto his brothers. Now it's all gonna start to make sense to you, right? So the Hamites, the burnt black niggas who Enlil mixed his seed with, which is why that bloodline got defected. Enlil mixed his seed with the Hamites. And then some black niggas in the desert in Africa and Morocco, who are the real Hamites, who call themselves more Zionist Jews, and they hang out in the desert in big ass palaces the size of the Kentucky Derby. You think you got Kentucky Derbies in their house with gold toilets and gold sinks and drinking out of gold chalices, drinking cold water out of a gold chalice, drinking wine chilled to 32 degrees from 1943. They cost $200,000 a bottle, and they drinking it like it's a can of soda. I'm telling you, man. These hyper guys. And they servants are the Canaanites. The Pisos was one of the groups. The guys who's in Israel now, they call themselves Jewish. It's a difference between being a Jew and then Jewish. Right? It's a difference. But these guys will be servants to these Hamite guys. But then if you go on and read Leviticus chapter 13, verse 30, Leviticus chapter 14, 34, it goes in, cursed be Canaan, and it says that this house was cursed with leprosy, leprosy, red spots, roses are red, leopards have spots, leprosy, right? They would, because people with these albinos with less melanin in their skin get burned, get these spots on their skin by the sun, right? These red spots. And that's how they became later on known as the rednecks. One group of them, they got marched by the Moors to the caves with the cable tow around their neck 3 times, for all my square business guys that know what time it is. But yeah, leprosy. Yeah, roses are red and leopards have spots. And so these people are Canaanites, according to the Bible. They were albinos with yellow thin hair, Leviticus chapter 13, verse 30. And flavorous means yellow thin hair. Go look it up. And so this guy was an albino, and he went amongst our people in ancient Kemet, asking questions about the story of Haru and the birth of how he was born, and they was Greek, so when they interpreted, hey man, artificial assimilation, we ain't never heard of it. So he was dead and he still had a kid. We'll just say he was a ghost. So he wrote in a ghost impregnated a woman, and that's good for a play. That's good. That sounds good in a movie. A ghost impregnated a woman in the movie sound good, but in real life, it's just not happening. Because then you got to explain, like Doc pointed out, what did they get? What did the ghosts do? Ghosts have Y chromosomes? Because in order to create a boy child, in order for Mary to create a child by herself, it would have been a girl, because she only can produce 2 X chromosomes. So in order for her to produce a male child, which would be Yashua, Jesus, right? If they said there was a ghost that did it, then that ghost would have to give Mary a Y chromosome. Now, for the people that still I swooped out, they'll say, "Oh well, that's God." See, God can give you. Think God can't give a lady a Y chromosome, right? They still got ghosts. They go always spooked out on you, man. It's God, man. See, he crazy, man. He don't know God. God can give somebody a Y chromosome. So that ghost had to have a Y chromosome, and you already know about the ghost spell. They put us under the ghost spell. They call it the gospel, right? But you got to understand alchemy. And like I said, when they met at the Nicene Council, right? It was all men. It was all men. And when you get a whole bunch of men together, you get genitalia. And listen, man, you all know about the jinn now. The jinn are the demons, the democrats, right? When you get the democrats, the jinn, and the genitalia, any got gone thing. And they all got bumpy faces. The jinn all got bumps on their faces. They're some ugly jokers, right? And they'll tell you anything. Yeah, genitalia. You see what I'm saying? And so when all these genitalia got together, their whole game was to get rid of the worship of the Black Madonna. Because not to get rid of it, just to hide it in the closet. Right? Because they get rid of it. The Pope still get on his knees and pray every morning when he get up, when he got to walk through this room where he got to sit there and pray every morning to the Black Madonna. Every morning when he get up. That's what they don't want to tell you. Yeah, the genitalia. That's what the jinn don't want to tell you. That the Pope get up and pray to the Black Madonna. And all of his little buddies called cardinals, the birds, who follow the Pope around, who really is wearing a fish hat. And nobody never made the connection with the Nomos, the fish people, and why Christians got a fish on back of their car, and why why Piso wrote in Jesus took 2 fish, the Pisceans age, and why he got to walk into this house and a man got a bucket of water, the Aquarians age, all in the Bible, in Matthew's, Mark, and Luke. Astronomy, dividends, the very thing that the Bible condemns is full of. It says don't do divinations in the Bible. Then it goes, the whole Bible is talking divination. You know what I'm saying? How many contradictions is it in the scripture? It says, yeah, so all of jinn got together and hid the worship of the feminine, the divine feminine, right? They do it. They hide in the closet and do it. But when a whole bunch of men that got together in the Nicene Council, what else do you expect? But for them to, and then you're dealing with a whole bunch, and then that's another thing too. The first 39 popes were Nubians, Moors. Saint Peter was a Nubian, was a brother. The Catholic Church, the Holy Cat, they're going back to the Sphinx, which ain't really the Sphinx. That ain't what they called it. We'll get to that later. But going back to the holy cat, the whole holistic cats, the Catholics, that goes back to ancient Kemet, the worship of the Sphinx, the worship of the Black Madonna. Yeah, that's what they are. They was all booty boys, so they wanted to cover up the black woman was God, that the Nubian woman was God, and that if Jesus is God, then who was Mary? Like Doc said, if Jesus was God, who was Mary? If Jesus was God, who was Mary? And like I was telling them, they got mad. They get mad at me because I made Caesar what he really looked like. They gave you a trailer park trash looking guy as Caesar for the act. They gave you all these actors, but they don't want to tell you that Caesar was a mulatto. That the people that was running Rome was mulattoes. The children of the dark skin people, black hand, 200 fallen niggas. The Romans are the 200 Etruscan fallen niggas that came from Mars during Murdoch's wedding. We can get into the Huguenots, right? The Huguenots that they the ones that came over and tried to steal our birthrights under the French. They were French. These French guys, look, because the French is the ones that came and used the spread. The Protestants is the ones that spread it Christianity and tried to use it to steal our birthrights. They the ones that spread it. They stole our stuff and then rewrote it and gave it back to us. The Christianity is our traditional information that we've been had for thousands of years before Piso and any other Caucasian you name. The story of ancient about the Holy Trinity been existed with Osiris, Inanna, and Haru. That been existed. The story of getting cast to hell, being judged, all that been in existence in ancient Kemet. The story at least, man, I can say at least 65% of the Bible stories I can show you in ancient Kemet. The story of Noah, the story of Moses. Moses is Thutmose. Solomon is Ramesses. They actually took 3 different people storylines to make up Solomon. Piso took, well, it wasn't Piso they put that together. It was another group, 46 Freemasons that put that together. But they took up to make up the Solomon storyline. They took stories from Imhotep III and Ramesses II, who was the one that had the 700 wives, and he was the richest king during that time to ever live. Like they say, Solomon was the wisest king and the richest king. That's Imhotep. That's Ramesses II, and he had like 700 girls. And I was trying to figure out how he was knocking that down, knocking 700 girls down. If he had to knock down at least 2 a day just to and he couldn't knock down the same girl. Just, man, he was doing a lot of getting down. Ramesses was getting down, man. You know what I'm saying? You had to have 700 girls. Man, how you deal with, it's hard to deal with one girl. How you deal with 700? That he had to be the wisest guy to ever live. Man, look, if whatever magic that he had, if they can bring that back and bottle it up or put it in the book and give it to niggas, man, please. It'll be over. They could bottle up what he knew to be able to handle 700 women. I don't give a damn how much money you got. You know what I'm saying? You'll be half. Man, look, I'm surprised that brother that put an arrow to his own with 700 girls. You know what I'm saying? Brother put an arrow to his dome back then. I'm telling you, man, 2, 3 maybe take you out. 1, 2. It only took 1 to take Samson out. 1 girl. 1 girl took Samson. So imagine 700 on you, man. 700, and then imagine if he pissed just 10 of them off. They all get together against him. Man, if 3 black girls, Nubian sisters get together against you, it's over with for you. Man, look, if 3 sisters say, man, we don't like this dude, let's get together and figure out how to end this guy. Man, it's over unless you of divine beings. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. That's how this game works. So back like I was saying, The Piso is the start of it in the early ADs before the transition into the Nicene Council. But he gets the information. I'm telling you, man. They gotta let us get it off, man. They gotta let the truth be heard in this point, because we're in the year of truth. And we don't got no time for the manipulation and the control. I'm like, who are these guys that want to put fluoride in our toothpaste? Who are these guys that want to put lead in our deodorant and heavy metals in our food and sell us nothing but GMO, or sell us shit that ain't even real food no more? Who are these guys? And I put it together. The black burnt black niggas, right? Burnt black, because ham means burnt black. These niggas blacker than my glasses. And they use pale faces as a scapegoat, so we can point the finger, and when they the same nigga that be standing beside you and then stole your $20 and helping you look for it. Yeah. And then when you say, man, I wonder who got it, he say the white man got it. That white man, he the one got it. Whole time he didn't nigga that got his hand in your pocket. He sitting down looking like he manipulates the system so you can be stupid, and then shake his head like they so stupid. How, like man, like what kind of people are these people? He manipulates the system, the educational, all the systems to make you stupid, and then shake his head and say, man, I wonder why they so stupid. Because you did it. Yeah. Hey, we got something coming out on the Book of Maccabees. Shout out to Brooklyn. We got something coming out tomorrow or the next day on the Book of Maccabees. We just put out the one on the Hebrew book, the Hebrew Bible. They got 88 books. You want to go check that out. For you people that want to watch the stuff about Flavius Piso, we got the links in the description, part 1 and part 2, breaking down the whole storyline of Flavius Piso, Julius, right? And like I say, he was the one that put together Mark, Luke, and Matthew's. If you read Matthew's chapter 9, as our master teacher, Dr. Malachi Z. York, right, as he pointed out, chapter 9 in the Bible is written in third person. Like it says, and Matthews went here or there. And so if Matthews wrote it, why ain't Matthews saying, and I did this or I did that? Right? Because Piso done wrote it. The only book that Piso didn't write was the Book of John. And the Book of John was later tampered with to suit the other 3 books. When the Book of John gave the real account of Yashua's storyline. The Book of John and the Book of Revelations gives the real account of Yashua's storyline, the Book of Yohannan. He was the only one that was told to write a book out of all the guys. The rest of the guys took it up on themselves. If you read their books, if you read the book of Luke, he said that I saw that everybody else did it, so I decided to do it myself. Go read the book. Go read the book of Luke, the beginning. He said that everybody else decided to do it, so I decided to do it myself. The only person that was inspired to write from the Most High God was Yohannan, John, the disciple. The rest of the guys took it up on themselves. And like I say, Matthews didn't even write Matthews according to Matthews. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. Yeah, Flavius was the Canaanites, the Hittites. He was a Hittite. And like I say, they were a front man. He was a front man for the Hamites. The Hamites wanted to come back and try to steal the birthrights. It's the same storyline as Esau and Jacob selling his birthrights for a bowl of soup. And so by creating the New Testament, they were going to write themselves into the Earthborn history. And then that way they could then paper genocide you by even showing you anything. Like it's like when they show me anything on TV, when they were showing me Africa, they were showing me nothing but Caucasians. When they showed me Egypt, they showed me nothing but Caucasians. It's like they whitewashed everything. And then they got mad when I make Caesar a mulatto when he really was a mulatto. You think black ass and Cleopatra was black, like she was a Watutsi. She was like my grandma and them people. They dark with the moles, like Slim from Cash Money, the Williams. They tall with the mole. That's how Cleopatra looked. And she was in Harlem. She went over in Africa. Let's clear all that up. Look, this land over here, Ethiopia was over here before they switched it up. They switched it over there. They switched the maps around on it, y'all. They found Mark Antony, who had a baby with Cleopatra, grave site in Illinois. In Illinois, go look it up. They found Mark Antony, who's the Bible, who's Mark in the Bible is really after, right? Mark Antony is Mark. Mark, the Bible is really Mark Antony. Doc already pointed that out. But Mark Antony's grave was found in Illinois. Why they ain't telling you that? Why they ain't telling you corn is indigenous to America, and why Jacob and them was sending people to Egypt to get corn? And it wasn't no corn over there, over in Africa, according to them, because we know that's bull crap too, because we got on the wall, we see the Afar people and the Twa man with the corn. So they must have been trading with the people over here for thousands of years. See, they don't want to tell you that we was already over here. We had boats. We was going into the land. They don't want to tell you all that we was already everywhere. Everywhere. We was already trading with everybody. I'm telling you, man. We run this town. We run this earth. We run the universe. We are the people. We was all over the earth. They try to cut us off and keep us every angle we turn to go and find out where we come from. They try to cut it. Oh, no, see, it was all white folks here. Oh, no, see, you niggas just came on the boat. Why you just can't be happy with you came on the bottom of a ship? Why you can't just be happy with that? You niggas want to be natives. You niggas want to be Africans. You niggas want to be Egyptians. You niggas want to be Watutsis. You niggas want to be this and that. Why you just can't be a happy-go-lucky Christian guy? Right? They want us. Hey, shout out Sister Karima. Hey, they want us to stay crazy, man. So now you got Reverend Pochop, Hot Sauce, Reverend Gino, and all these other guys still up, still leading people on to the Piso game. The Roman Empire. Still preaching Christian. Jesus never heard the word Christian. They wasn't called Christian until Antioch, Acts chapter 13. Yashua supposedly was already took out by then, by the Romans. Really, his own people turned him in to the police, to be exact. That's what they say. Right? So Yashua never heard the word Christian. They wasn't called Christians until at the end in Antioch. And they try to write that in on this rock I build my church. See, they don't want to tell you Big Mama worship go back for billions of years. Everybody know Big Mama been running stuff. These guys that try to change the game, they new to the game. You know what they call Earth? Mother Earth. Mother Nature. Mother this, mother that. And show me one nigga that's here right now that ain't came through a woman. Cuda. Show me one. And don't tell me about no imaginary shit in the Bible that you can't really lay claim to proving. And I can show you even in the Bible, Adam had a mother. Her name was Lilith. We can get into that too. The master teacher already taught us all this. But we for the people, the newcomers, show me any man that didn't have a mother. Somebody said you can't have a mother without a father. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. We can get into the reptilian kingdom because you niggas really Nomos. And we can get into how really every man is really a female in the womb before the birth. And then they lose a leg on the chromosome to make it a Y. Man cannot have a birth of kid, but I'm saying all men are females in the womb into a certain amount of and then they lose the weaken the genetics and lose the one leg to the chromosome, making it a Y. And why does the mother pass the mitochondric and the father don't? And at one point, it was no man here. They already proved that point too. But the man comes by way of a defect. I'm telling you, a defective chromosome, a defective X chromosome. We can get to this, man. We got 2,100 classes. Y'all, you ain't in here talking to y'all punk off the streets. So you say you know all of this, Cornelius. Say we know all of this, right? All right, so then overstand this part, Mr. Cornelius. It's mother and son. It's always been Big Mama's world. Big Mama been running things. They got Big Mama's chair up at the back, and they laying up there calling it St. Peter's chair. Can you believe it? That ain't St. Peter's chair. That's our Nana's chair. And you better act like you care. Right? Because if Big Mama say knock you out, then I'm gonna knock you out. You know what I'm saying? If Big Mama say knock you out, I'm gonna knock you out. Yeah, they were Anglo-Saxons. That's what see, okay, so Piso, like I said, Piso and them were Canaanite servants. And Piso actually was sent to figure out how could they infiltrate the Earthborn. Piso got sent by the Black Hand to see how could they infiltrate the Earthborn. And his solution was, only way we can infiltrate them is through their spiritual connection and they historical record, their spiritual connection to their historical record. And that's why he wrote the play of the Haru story and turned it into the Jesus. He didn't even call it Jesus at the time because that name Jesus didn't even exist at the time of when Piso wrote the shit. So he didn't even call him Jesus. It didn't become Jesus until the Nicene Council. When Constantine wanted to make peace between the Jews and the Romans, so he mixed both gods together. He mixed Jehovah or Yahweh, which was the Hebrew god, and then he took and mixed it with Zeus and came out with Jesus. Except then they spoke certain Latin and Greek, which is all the same thing. Portuguese is all the same origin, right? And they would say, instead of saying for the J, they didn't have the J in their language. The J didn't come till later. So it couldn't have been Jesus. And like I said, the J didn't come till about 500 years ago. So in no way that Piso could have wrote nothing about wrote a Jesus, called him Jesus. So what was Piso calling Jesus back then when he wrote the storyline? Right? That's another point we got to make. Then too, like I said, Zeus. They didn't speak in Greek. It's Aesus, and then you go back to Arabic. It's Isa, right? And I can see how, from raw perspective, how they could twist that around and take it from Inanna or Isis or Set, right? I can see, because if you go into Islam worship Adina, Diane. Diane is the Black Madonna. That's Inanna. And I'm starting to think that Christianity originated not just from ancient Kemet over there, where they show you the Greeks, because they keep on saying ancient Kemet, and then when in your mind you automatically think about the 3 pyramids at Giza Plateau. You don't think about America being ancient Kemet as well, and you don't think about that. What if the Black Madonna worship originated over here in America? Because the original name of America is Tamari. Mary is supposed to be Jesus' mother, Inanna, Haru mother, right? Isa is in Arabic, Jesus, Yashua in Arabic, right? So the worship of Black Madonna, what if it stemmed from over here? And then they took it migrated over there. And then once these so-called guys who were homophiliacs, who 200 following because they was popping each other's butt up on Mars, and they came down here and passed that on down. Well, if they were homophiliacs, right? And then they say, oh, we got to get rid of this woman thing. We don't want to give praise to the Nubian woman because we see all these women all around, right? We see all these women. And even in ancient Kemet, you go see they had a lot of women statues that were standing behind the men, right, in a certain format. And the Greeks went over there and knock it down. They went over there and knock it down. Why are they trying to cover up the worship of the Black Madonna, or the worship of the divine feminine principle? And they try to do a good job at covering it up, but it's in all their religious architect. All their religious structures has got female breast, female, even how the Vatican's laid out in that little center part with the obelisk, it's laid out like a female private parts, right? Even DC is laid out like a feminine, divine feminine energy. The whole DC, the whole Memphis layout, the whole layout in LA is all feminine layouts. Why? Why they ain't telling us this part? Why they ain't telling us that it's temples with ancient Egyptian artifacts in the Grand Canyon that's older than any other place they can name on the planet? Why they ain't telling you that they found the oldest Egyptian mummy over in America? So they must have been mummifying people over here first. And not to go to say they found the real Anubis dog in South America. Come on, man. Stop playing. So Piso he plagiarized and finagled the story from ancient Kemet. He didn't come up with it off the top of his head. They can't come up with nothing off the top of their head. Only thing they do is they rerun type of a guys. You don't believe me? Go watch Lion King. What is Lion King? It's the same storyline of Cain and Abel, the brother against brother, right? Isaac and Jacob. They actually run that storyline over and over again in the Bible. Brother against brother. Even Judas and Jesus is a brother against brother. Like Caesar and Brutus. Jesus and Judas. Sound close to me. So they run this brother on brother thing. When they go watch Lion King, like I said, it's a brother on brother. Well, Mufasa and his brother, what's the other brother name? They killed the other brother, right? Go watch. They don't do number reruns. Go watch Avatar. What is Avatar? The Pocahontas storyline. Her real name was Montaoka. And that's really a key pivot point in them stealing your land over here on the North Gate. Montaoka. Because Doc said, and this ties into Piso, that these guys, their whole game was to tie themselves into our vine, mix in with our bloodline so they can steal our birthrights. So the whole thing with Pocahontas and Thomas Roth, because they got you under pressure in the movie line that John Smith impregnated her and won her over, who these guys were Macs, black conquistadors, Moors, the Macs. And they could, the Macs, they could talk. The Macs got the gift of gab. So they put a Mac named Thomas Roth on Pocahontas, Montaoka, right? And he macked her down. And then impregnated her with a Y chromosome. And then they birthed a kid named Thomas Roth. They brought him back and set up the Ponzi scheme, right? Because everybody that was kin to him over there, they could bring him back and say, oh yeah, well, he kin to him, so that makes him adopted to the tribe. And then they started marrying into us, and boom, all of a sudden they started accumulating land, and boom, all of a sudden they started working. The chiefs and princes started coming up dead. Like all of a sudden, mysteriously, this guy get killed. He's a guy that's supposed to be the inheritor of the land. But then all of a sudden, this other guy now is inherited it. And then next thing you know, he's selling the land off to somebody. And we don't even sell land over here. How is he selling it? Go read a book called North Carolina's from Free to Colored People. North Carolina from Free to Colored People. Go read that book, and it breaks down how they was doing it, how they were coming in and they were mixing with us, and then all of a sudden, boom, they end up over the land some kind of way after the guys that's supposed to do it. He did. He come up killed or something, and then they end up on the land. Then next thing you know, they selling it at auction. Right. This is the game. So the creation of the New Testament by the Pisos was still the birthrights. But they didn't understand the whole ramifications of alchemy. So it's a good side to the New Testament as well, because a lot of people have read the New Testament and have changed their life and did positive things from reading it. So you gotta look at it like that. When Piso created it, he could have created it for some bad shit, right? But you gotta think about this. When you in alchemy, when you create something, you automatically create the opposite, because in order to legitimize whatever alchemical thing that you created, it's got to have a opposite to legitimize it. Meaning, and when they created hot water, in order for you to really understand hot water, they had to have cold there so you can understand and distinguish the difference. So in order to distinguish the difference from right and wrong, even though Piso if Piso intentions were to create the New Testament to manipulate people into controlling them in a certain type of format to where they can steal their birthrights, the flip side is how many people have did good things based off of them studying the New Testament. That's another thing we got to look at, man. We got to look at all angles here, right? I know some brothers that were good people that their whole life was based off of the New Testament, and they were good, turn the other cheek brothers, and had lived a pretty good life and was benevolent, good brothers. So it's like that. It's like that part. You can't be biased all the way against the new, even though we know Piso put it together. Hey, I'm glad Piso put it together, because it give us more. It's just more stuff that we can use to figure stuff out, to figure this out. And what drove Piso to put the Matthew, Mark, and Luke together? What drove Piso to do it? That's another thing too. So we're just looking at all the angles. We ain't just being one way and biased. And we're gonna be going live again tonight. We're gonna take a brief break after this. We're gonna be going live again tonight on African Magic live footage. That's gonna be lit, right? But we'll take a couple of questions before we get out of here. And like I said, if you want to get the full story, we just doing like a review over the 2 tapes that we put out on the video side of we got the whole storyline of Julius Piso and how he actually put the whole thing together over on the video side, part 1 and part 2. You can watch those tapes. Also, if you can't find them, you can, in the descriptions on this tape right here, they in the descriptions, part 1 and part 2. You can watch that storyline about how Piso put the New Testament together. Right, it's 21 books of about the Romans in the Bible. The whole New Testament really is a Roman book. It's based in Roman ideology. That's why Paul is who really was changed his name to Paul. And he really was Saul. Has the most books in the New Testament. The Romans got the most books in the New Testament. Now some people may argue, "Oh, Paul wasn't a Roman; he was an Israelite." Yeah, he was an Israelite because of his mother. Right, but his father was a Roman, and so that makes really, if we go on with the Israelite doctrine teach you what your father is, right? They don't teach it. They teach you not if your mother, and that's really how it went. It went from your mother. The mother line was the real blood, the real line, because the mitochondrial DNA, right? But some Israelite tribes say that you are what your father are. So if Paul was what his father's is, then he was a Roman. Which is why in the Bible, in Acts, they mistake Paul for a Roman. And he's considered as a Roman citizen, and he get a pass because he a Roman citizen. Go read it. You ain't talking to no young punks. You talking to somebody that used to get paid $9 an hour to read the Bible for a whole 2 years straight. $9 an hour. I had to sit in a tent and read the Bible. I'm telling you, man. And then not to mention, we students of Dr. Malachi York. So you ain't talking to young punks out the street, man, when we putting this together for you. And we ain't biased against Paul. I like Paul because Paul, in a sort of kind of way, led me to study Malachi teachings. Let me explain that part before we get out of here. All right, so when, as coming up as a little kid, my granddad was a pastor of a church. Both my granddads, my dad's mom and my mom's mom were both pastors. I mean, my dad's dad and my mom's dad were both pastors of churches. So all we did is study the Bible 24 hours a day. You wake up, study the Bible, you go to sleep on the Bible, and then you wake up and study the Bible. You at church 24 hours a day. And when church ain't over, we mowing the yard at the church, picking up trash at the church, doing something with the church. I'm telling you, man, I'm churched out. For the last, for a whole 12, 20 years of my life, I spent every day at church. And my granddad was even brooming me like a Mayweather of Christianity. Like, you know how Mayweather was a kid and he put the gloves on him when he was a baby and started him punching the bag and all that. Well, my granddad, the first thing he put in my hand was the Bible and started me reading the Bible and studying the Bible and preaching and doing all that. I was crunk. They liked me too. How I can rile the crowd up as a young youth minister, right? So that I'm just giving you a quick overstanding on how I got how I come up. And so well I'm gonna get to the point where Paul led me to read Malachi. But my granddad, my mom's dad, he was more of a law type preacher. He didn't believe, he believed in the old time religion. Like even though he taught Jesus and all that, he didn't ever mention that Paul was a bad guy, but he really stayed away from Paul books. He was mostly into the law. And you got to do this. You got to get married before you have kids. And he was into the law, right? So and then my granddad used to say, you don't go read no other book. You got to read the Bible. All them other stuff is put together by the devil. TV is the devil. You know what I'm saying? My granddaddy didn't even own a TV in his house. That's how much all he did is read the Bible and pray. I'm telling you, man. I ain't never seen him get mad. Ever. I ain't never seen him curse. Ever. Never seen him curse ever. Right? Ever. Long as I've been alive. And my mama probably can say that she probably never seen him curse. I'm telling you, man. That's how serious it is. That dude went straight to heaven when he passed away. I'm telling you. In my book. But so I was spooked out of going to read anything else. And then after my granddad, after I left and got older and I went off and get my first girlfriend, her dad was a pastor. Not my first girlfriend, probably like my third, after I got out of high school, my girl that I met after high school, her dad was a pastor of a church in Texas. So I ended up going to stay with them. And I started playing the drums for his church. So I still, every time I tried to get out of the church, it's always come back to me. So her dad was a pastor, right? Of Bakeville, Texas. Pastor Mondale, Bakeville, Texas. And so I studied the Bible with him, and he liked me, and he really liked me because it's like, you know what, like I said, I was like a young Mayweather in the Bible. So when I came in contact with him, being that he was a pastor, being that I was already into the game like that, he wanted me and his daughter to be married because he liked it how like that I was already a Christian, into the game already like that, right? And he was like, he wanted to help me and grow. But what made the difference is, I'm gonna tell you, Paul books freed me. And I'm gonna tell you what made the difference is when I got with Mondale, Pastor Mondale, he was more onto Paul books. And he was more into Jesus is the end of the law. Romans chapter 9, 10 and 9. And the chapter 10 real hard. That's what the Christians, the Paulites teach. He was a Paulite, Mr. Roman Mondale. So he taught Jesus is the end of the law. You can't keep all the laws. Man, you only can keep a couple of them, to keep the ones you can, and then go about your business. So it's like when he started talking like that about when I started really grasping the books of Paul of how Jesus is the way they grasp it, the way the certain Christians grasp it, right? That the ones that's on the Paulite doctrine. I started to say, well, I don't gotta sit here and be all tied up no more where I can't go outside of the Bible. It's like Paul books allow me to go study other things. It freed me from the law to go study other things because under the law, I can't read nothing but the law. That's how I felt, right? But once I got the Paul books, it's like, well, we ain't trapped under the law no more. So let me go check out this book, see what it say. And then that's what led me to study the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And then later on, lead me to Doc. But if I would have never studied, grasped Paul's books, I probably would still been trapped under the law, right? Now we can get into, we still keep the law according to what, because Jesus really kept the law. He never changed it. Paul came on and changed the law and made this Christianity and this, you don't got to get circumcised or you don't got to do this. You can eat that and this and that. That's all the Christianity doctrine, right? And so that's when I met Monday, because my granddaddy didn't really like pork because of the Bible said don't eat it. But Mundell and them, they was eating it. And he said, well, the Bible says right here that in Paul and Peter, it said that whatever God make clean, this and that, whatever. So we can get into the doctrine. But what I'm telling you is that Paul's teachings unlocked my mind to want to go and study other stuff. And that's so I know Doc taught that Paul was a FBI agent, and that we gained that perspective too. But it's always more than one side to everything. And like I say, even though Piso put together the New Testament, he stole it from Ancient Kemet, from the story of Haru. How many people have it turned good? How many people have that New Testament turned good in the world that did good things, that had good intentions, that have helped people based on what they study in the New Testament? So we gotta look at that. And on that note, we're gonna be back, y'all. So I gotta do another show tonight. So we'll be back in about 30 minutes for you people that want to come back on for the African magic class. Stay tuned. Y'all on TV, man. You don't want to miss it. We the hottest in the game, y'all. Never have it been made so clear.